Good day, everyone, and thank you for tuning in today. I'm Bob Simpson, and I'm thrilled to give you a Take 10 sneak peek to what for A&K will be a very special edition and historic expedition cruise to Antarctica, featuring the opportunity to view a total solar eclipse in the Southern Ocean. Now, 2021 is a very special year here at A&K, as we'll be celebrating our 30th year of luxury expedition cruising. Over the years, we've had the opportunity to cruise literally from pole to pole and across every ocean region. And this is truly going to be a historic opportunity to have the chance to experience a total solar eclipse and at the same time experience once in a lifetime expedition to the Antarctic. Our program will operate from November 30th to December 12th, 2021, with a planned experience of the solar eclipse on December 4th in the Scotia Sea. We'll begin our adventure very purposely in Santiago, Chile, and I'll explain a little bit more about that in a minute. We'll fly by charter flight to Ushuaia, where we'll board our luxury expedition vessel, Le Lyrial, and begin our voyage by positioning into a very specific area in the Scotia Sea, a bit southeast from the Falkland Islands and just a bit northeast of the South Orkneys, to be in the planned swath of totality precisely in the morning of December 4th. Now, to be clear, while we know exactly where and when we need to be for the total eclipse experience, what we cannot guarantee is the skies, the weather, and the conditions at the precise time. However, you'll be in the company of some of the world's most impressive experts to put full context into the experience, and I'll detail a little bit about that shortly. This will be followed by a full experiential expedition to the Antarctic Peninsula before returning to Ushuaia for our return charter flight, this time back to Buenos Aires at the end of our voyage. Now, I mentioned for this voyage, you're going to be accompanied by some of the world's foremost experts in the areas of astronomy, space, and atmospheric elements. Our resident solar team will include former NASA astronaut Dr. Kathy Sullivan. Kathy is the former Deputy Director of National Oceanographic Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, under the Obama administration. She has the distinction of being the first American woman to walk in space, and recently she joined some of our good friends from EOS expeditions on an expedition called Challenger Deep, where Kathy was the first woman ever to go to the lowest point on Earth in the Marianas Trench. So she has the distinction of not only having the highest vertical experience of any woman in history, but any human being in history. Also joining us for our team is going to be Dr. David Crane. Now, I've known David for nearly 40 years, and I can tell you he is simply the smartest human being that I've ever met. When people often will use the phrase, he must be a rocket scientist, well, David is literally a rocket scientist with a doctorate in space physics from the University of Texas in Dallas. Dr. Crane is one of the world's foremost experts in the areas of space technology and the topic of satellite real estate for satellite payloads in the atmosphere. And finally, Dr. Massimo Taranghi. He developed the world-famous European Southern Ocean Observatory, the ESO, located near the Atacama Desert, and literally was responsible for the construction of the world's largest terrestrial telescope there. Dr. Taranghi will lead our pre-cruise Atacama extension, and he'll add his expertise to the science and the experience of the solar eclipse when we're on board Le Lyrial. And so also for our guests, if you've been with us in the past, you know the importance of our onboard A&K expedition team, and this expedition will be no different. Our experts that I just featured, they'll be joined by our many familiar faces of our A&K world-class core team of field naturalists, Zodiac drivers, and of course our full lecture team. Now, every expedition has its key highlights and elements. So today, I wanted to take 10 to highlight what we feel are the most compelling for our Antarctic solar eclipse cruise. Of course, it all starts with the opportunity to experience a total solar eclipse in the Southern Ocean. Now, again, I have to stress that the weather, the sea, and the atmospheric conditions will completely dictate the scope of the experience. But with these amazing experts, even in these, if the conditions are not ideal for totality viewing, it will be a once-in-a-lifetime experience. And I also mentioned earlier, by design, we chose to begin our expedition in Chile. And in particular, the skies in Chile are noted as being amongst the clearest in the world. So it's an ideal complement for this solar eclipse cruise. You'll have the opportunity while we're in Santiago to visit the Andino Observatory. And of course, you'll have the opportunity also to join Dr. Taranghi as well for our Atacama pre-cruise extension and have an exclusive ESO experience in the company of the man that literally created it. And while the eclipse is going to be the key objective for our expedition, it certainly does not end there. will have the full expedition experience in the Antarctic Peninsula. Simply put, the most amazing experience that a human can have short of leaving this planet. And it starts with the most prolific wildlife experiences in the world. During our time in the peninsula, we'll hope to encounter at least 3 of the region's key species: the chinstrap that you see here in this image, the adelie, and the gentoos that you saw in the previous slide. It's not just the variety of the species, though, it's the sheer volume of the rookeries that we hope to encounter. And not just the penguins, Antarctica's home to a wide range of seabird and migratory species, such as the blue-eyed shags that you see here. And the most amazing marine mammal encounters exist right here in the Antarctic. When we're out in our zodiacs, encounters that you see in these images here are really quite common. One of the most amazing aspects of the journey also will be learning about the incredible geography, geology, and specifically how changes in climate, particularly in the polar regions, really have a profound and prolific impact on our entire global ecosystem. And finally, following in the wake of some of the great explorers will be really a key highlight. This image that you see here, this is Point Wild on Elephant Island, which we hope to visit on our way from the Eclipse experience before we get to the peninsula. This is where the crew of Endurance waited patiently for many months for Sir Ernest Shackleton's determined return for a complete rescue of the entire Endurance crew. The bus statue that you see here, this is the Chilean Captain Pardo, which was the captain of the Yelcho, the ship that Shackleton was able to charter to finally rescue his men here. And we'll retrace much of the path of the Endurance, as well as expeditions led by Amundsen, America's Nathaniel Palmer, and Britain's heroic Admiral Richard Bransfield. Now, you've seen some of the rugged and remote environments that we'll have a chance to visit during this journey. However, I wanted to end to remind you that you'll be experiencing this in absolute comfort and style. For ANK's Antarctic expeditions, we exclusively charter the MV L'Irial, one of the world's premier polar expedition vessels. Now, a few key things that I want to highlight here. Number one, as with all of ANK's luxury expedition cruise programs, ANK has full expedition and operational control of the entire program. Part of that operational control enables us to set and manage our own capacity for this program is no more than 199 guests. And in fact, when you take into account the number of solo travelers that we typically have, plus the additional space that we need for our amazing expedition team and our added experts, we typically will be full with about 180 guests. Now, as a reminder, this is on a ship that's designed to carry 244. So what does that mean? A couple of things. Number one, we'll never have more than about 70% of what the ship is designed to carry. This gives us the opportunity to have much more comfort and personal space on board for all of our guests. And with the combination of our expedition team and the ship's crew, we have nearly 1-to-1 service personnel to guest ratio on board. This greatly enhances the level of personal service, the natural ability for physical distancing, and the ability for us to maintain the highest level of health and safety standards when we're on board. As a reminder, 100% of all of our passenger accommodations feature a full private balcony, so you can enjoy in solitude, if you wish, this amazing environment. As always, all of our expeditions are all-inclusive, so that includes our butler service in all suite categories, gratuities for our staff, crew, highest level of cuisine, multiple dining options, 24-hour room service, our ANK Travelers Valet laundry service, open bar, a full expedition gear kit, complimentary of ANK, all excursions included, all the ground services, and so much more. Also, you'll have the opportunity to extend your journey with the exceptional pre and post extensions. Again, you can begin the solar experience by joining Dr. Taranki for an extension to the Atacama Desert, which is going to include an exclusive visit to the Paranal European Southern Observatory. And you can wrap up your experience with a post-cruise extension to Iguazu Falls. So we look forward to welcoming all of our travelers, and we particularly invite you to join us as we celebrate 30 years of luxury expedition cruising. And don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to experience the solar eclipse in the Southern Ocean. Space is extremely limited, so if you have interest to join us, please don't wait. Contact our team here at ANK as quickly as possible. Also, to view all of our 30th anniversary programs, please visit abercrombieandkent.com and take a look at our full lineup for all the programs that we will be operating during this celebratory year.